Hi, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here with angel investor, best-selling author, and someone who's giving the most interesting man in the world a run for his money, Tim Ferriss. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. The Dos Equis man wins. He's got me beat.
I don't know. You are nipping at his heels.
Because it's not how long you live, it's how well you live.
Right.
And there are different ways to define that, but I think it's a combination of achievement and appreciation. And if you don't appreciate what you have now, nothing you ever get will make you satisfied or happy. And therefore, especially for someone like me, and I think this is true for a lot of people, I'm hardwired to be an alcoholic. Not an alcoholic, workaholic. I do have a lot of wine, but
Take two.
I'm hardwired to be a workaholic. And this, once an addict, always an addict. I know that. So I have to build in a practice, like a scheduled practice of focusing on gratitude and the things I appreciate, the things I'm happy for. It's very important. It's like a prescription that I give myself.
So if I'm watching this and I am trying to appreciate what I have, but I feel stuck, what's your message to those people?
Stuck in what way?
So, I'm not happy with where I am in my career, or I have a startup and we're not achieving the success we want.
Yep.
You can look around and say, I'm grateful to have a place to live and have a great support system, family, whatever. But
Yep.
what if I am stuck?
Sure. I think you can have both. I think it's important to have some level of gratitude so that you can act from a calm, analytical place as opposed to a state of overwhelm, or a state of rushing, because that is when big mistakes get made. So I'd say a few things. Number one is do a gratitude list. 3 things you're grateful for. First thing when you wake up, first thing before, or last thing before you go to bed. Just as a ritual, make that part of your schedule. Then I would say scheduling 2 things, 80-20 analysis and fear setting. And I do that every 2 weeks or so.
So explain.
This is something I schedule for twice a month. So let's say every other Monday or every other Friday, I will do 80-20 analysis and fear setting. What that means is I will look at the 20% of activities or activities and people that are producing 80% of the results and positive emotional states that I want. Then I'll look at the 20% of activities and people that are producing 80% of the problems or negative emotional states in my life. I'll also look at the 20% of people or activities that are consuming 80% or more of my time. And based on the results of that analysis, which does not take long, do this on a piece of paper, it takes 15 to 30 minutes. I put together a to-do list and a not to-do list. And then I'll circle the 1 or 2 most important force multipliers, the things that if done properly would change everything, and the things that if not done at all would change everything else. Okay, that's the 80-20 piece of it. The fear setting piece is looking at why you haven't done the most important to do, or why you haven't stopped doing the most important not to do.
Addressing the gorilla in the room or the obstacle that's in front of you.
Defining your fear very clearly. And it's just like goal setting. If you don't have specificity in your goal, you will not achieve it because you can't aim properly for the target. Fear is very similar. So let's say you're considering shutting down your startup. Okay, that's a big deal. It's a much bigger emotional deal than just quitting a job. Let's say someone's considering winding down their startup. All right, so you would, instead of having this ambiguous fear that prevents you from making any changes, you would take out a piece of paper, and on the left-hand side, in one column, you would write down all of the worst things that could happen in great detail. So you could not be able to pay your mortgage, right? And then you'd have to do A, B, and C. You might lose this, that, and the other thing. Your co-founder would have to do blah, 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 whatever it is. And then in the second column, the next column, you write down all of the things you could do to minimize the likelihood of those things happening. In the third column, you identify all the things you could do to get back to where you are now if it happened. Right? And when you lay things out like that, you realize that most actions, whether it's doing something new or stopping something you're currently doing, have very low risk. And what I mean by risk, this is another word that gets thrown around a lot, like success and happiness, that people don't stop to define, and that is the origin of a lot of problems. Risk to me is the potential for an irreversible negative outcome. That's it. And there are very few things that actually fall in that category. And by doing the 80-20 analysis to choose those few most important items to either do or not do, and then doing the fear setting on a regular basis, you're able to act on the most important things. And being effective, i.e. doing the right things, choosing the things you do very carefully, is more important than being efficient, which is doing things well. So if you do a lot of things well, that doesn't automatically make them important.